Uncle Howdy and his new family have finally arrived onto the scene with probably one of the coldest debuts the company has ever seen. This all started back on April 1st with the release of the Bray Wyatt documentary. In a post-credits scene, Uncle Howdy can be seen turning back on Bray Wyatt's lantern and standing over it, with the tease clearly being that Uncle Howdy was coming back to keep the legacy alive and strong. That led to several more Howdy-related teasers being shown at WWE World, and later led to all of the QR codes being rolled out over the last few months. The teasers were very fun to follow, and if you were staying on top of the codes, they were very rewarding and informed you about the members ahead of time, and even featured several personal messages from Howdy discussing the loss of his brother, his plan, and so on. And for a while there, the teasers were pointing a finger to the date of June 17th. This date would once again come back up into discussion when Uncle Howdy posted a one-week countdown timer with the expiration being on June 17th. And when that countdown reached 0, a message appeared on the screen that read, "We're here." A clear callback and usage of a true classic Bray Wyatt line. Then, even in the actual intro for the June 17th edition of Monday Night Raw, it was very glitched and bugged intentionally to further hint that tonight was the night of their arrival. And there were teasers and hints about their arrival all night long on Raw that you could have missed if you weren't looking in the right spots, such as the opening promo from Seth Rollins. Seth made his own big surprise return to Raw on June 17th. But if you look in the stands behind Seth Rollins, you can see a shadow and outline that easily belongs to Uncle Howdy, which was hinting at the idea that he was in the building and keeping a close eye on the show. Some fans are even wondering if Howdy appearing in that fashion during Seth's promo could be a sign that Howdy could eventually come for Seth Rollins. If revenge is going to be a big thing for Uncle Howdy, then it could make sense to go after Seth Rollins because Seth was a longtime rival to Bray Wyatt. Seth and Bray went at it from the days of the Shield versus the Wyatt family all the way until 2019, when they feuded over the Universal title. So with Seth Rollins being a longtime opposition to the Wyatt household, that does make him a potential target for Howdy probably down the line. Another hidden hint was the random placement of Bray Wyatt's Firefly Funhouse puppets all over the backstage areas throughout the night. All of the puppets were hidden and thrown in the background of multiple backstage segments, clearly hinting at what was to come. And the Uncle Howdy Arena shadow would once again be seen during Dragon Lee's warm-up in the ring, which could again be some seeds being planted for the future. Could Howdy eventually come for the LWO and have a faction versus faction battle with them? It seems possible. And on top of those teasers, there were also moments of the screen completely glitching out and going crazy with Howdy-related teasers. One of those biggest moments took place when Drew McIntyre was backstage and walking out to the ring. The screen went nuts with Howdy teasers while Drew was on screen, leading many fans to wonder if that as well could be an indicator that Drew McIntyre is on Uncle Howdy's hit list. Everyone knew the family would be appearing at the end of the show, but the big question was, how would it all unfold? Will they pick someone from the main event match to attack, or will it be done in a post-credits and cinematic kind of way? The answer was a very cinematic scene. It all started with the arena going dark, and that one single piano note from Bray Wyatt's Shatter theme song playing in the arena. Bray's door scene was built on the stage, and the door busted open the same way it once did during his entrance. But this time it was a haunted version of Nikki Cross that crawled out the door and approached Bray's lantern. That's when Nikki pointed backstage, and this debut took one of the darkest turns we've ever seen. The camera goes backstage to find Eric Rowan with a new weapon and new mask. Rowan was standing over a couple of backstage personnel individuals that appeared to be completely knocked out. The cameraman then goes backstage some more into the gorilla position room, and it had been absolutely destroyed by the family. There was smoke everywhere, lights were popping and going out. There were bodies everywhere of all the people that had been knocked out. Even blood splatter all over the walls and floors. No one at all was able to escape the attack. We then see Dexter Lumis sitting up on top of a platform admiring what they all had just done. The camera goes to the back some more to be confronted by Joe Gacy in his new look and appearance. And we see another knocked out individual, and it's Chad Gable. So up until that point, the family did take out about 12 people, but there were all backstage people and production staff. Chad Gable was the first and only superstar that appeared to be a victim of this attack. Gable was sitting there, knocked out, with blood running down his forehead. And then the camera went back even more to find Uncle Howdy, that the crowd did immensely go crazy for. Howdy did his signature arm twirl and admired the scene as he walked through the chaos and massacre. Joe Gacy, Dexter Lumis, and Eric Rowan all followed right behind Uncle Howdy as he walked out to the stage. Howdy had a big smile on his face the entire time and would walk up to Bray's lantern that was on the floor. He lifted it up with all of his new family members standing beside him. Uncle Howdy said that we're here and blew the lantern out to officially end Raw and their arrival. Everyone was talking about how this arrival not only lived up to the hype and expectations, but possibly even surpassed a lot of people's expectations. A lot of fans even calling it one of the coldest and most horrifying things WWE has ever shown for a debut. And the return was incredible and was no doubt something that Bray Wyatt would be so proud of. For weeks now, Uncle Howdy was teasing a massacre and talking about all these brutal plans. And we mentioned how he's going to have to do something pretty insane to live up to all this talk he was doing. And he absolutely delivered on that promise of a massacre. While everyone was enjoying the main event match of the night, everyone in the backstage area was getting absolutely slaughtered and beaten down, and no one knew. If you count up everyone that was on the floor from the attack, the family took out well over 10 individuals, with Chad Gable being the biggest name of the bunch. There's been some buzz that Chad Gable would be one of Howdy's first rivals, and considering that Gable was seen like that in the debut, that does appear to fuel that narrative. Why is Uncle Howdy coming after Chad Gable? We'll see, have to find out why. But maybe Howdy doesn't like how Chad Gable had a close family faction with him, but all he ever did was use and abuse them. That could be what Uncle Howdy is a bit upset with him about. Here Howdy is trying to piece a family together and create a bond with them himself, and Chad Gable has that special connection with his Alpha Academy family, but he's mistreating them. Howdy is a family man, so maybe that's one of the reasons why they had to come after Gable right away to put him in line for abusing his own family. The group themselves has been officially labeled as the Wyatt Sicks. A small play on words to the original name everyone was expecting of the Wyatt Sicks, with the actual number 6. When you say it out loud, both names sound the same, but the fact that their name is actually 6 is a very cool detail. And even in the logo, the number 6 is still highly featured. Instead of using a letter S on 6, the logo uses the number 6. And on the back of their merchandise shirts, the number 6 in a red circle can also be seen. The big mystery with the logo is that there's obviously only 5 current members of the group. So, is that 6th spot kind of reserved for Bray Wyatt? Is he in that honorable and sacred 6th spot by default as a tribute, or is it a hint that someone will join later on to complete the prophecy and be the 6th edition? That's the big mystery about everything there. And in the group's other shirt, Let Us In is spelled with a 5 instead of an S. So, the merchandise is doing a lot of playing around with the numbers 5 and 6. They have 5 members right now, but with the 6 being so prominently featured in the logos, it has fans feeling like another edition has to be on the way later on. And everyone is looking at Alexa Bliss to be that final edition. Like we always talk about, the person with the absolute biggest case of them all to be a member of this group was Alexa Bliss. Before Alexa disappeared in 2023, Uncle Howdy had spent nearly 3 months trying to recruit her back into the Wyatt universe. So it would have made perfect sense if his recruitment of Alexa continued off-screen and she returned with the group. It would also be weird if Alexa Bliss returns to WWE later in the year and just has nothing to do with the group at all and just goes about her business as a singles competitor. That would just feel pretty strange. So at this point, until Alexa comes back and proved otherwise, it looks like there's still a strong chance that they're saving Alexa's addition to the group for a later date. And if that's the case, that should provide another big moment. Maybe Nikki Cross is getting jumped and beat up by some female superstars, and since the male superstars can't help her in that situation, maybe something like that opens up a door for Alexa to return and save her longtime friend Nikki Cross. That's another good sign that an Alexa edition has to be coming. Her longtime friend Nikki Cross is already there waiting for her. All Alexa has to do is join her in the family, and they could start once again gunning for the women's tag team titles that they've already held with each other several times. Business is most definitely picking up here for the Wyatt Sicks, and if their usage continues to look like their debut, it's going to be very exciting. But what are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments, don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.